welcome back here once again, everyone, here for another video. Now, before I get started, I have to say a big shout out and thanks to Young Ripper because I saw him do this video and it got me interested. So I started to look into what he was saying, and then I got this. I said, let me do this video also because it speaks to something that should really be spoken about when it comes to any kind of creator, content creator, comic book creator, these sorts of things. Now, this comic book creator, Joe Glass, only the queerest joy, Lord have mercy. So, he's a pretty upcoming comic creator, but he's been around a little while now. Seen people mention him before, but here's what he puts out here. This month is turning out a bit tighter than initially expected. So if folks wanted to buy some comics from my website today, it would be much appreciated and really help out. Now, I will say this. I don't like seeing anybody in any kind of financial difficulty, any kind of stuff. I think as a creator, it's hard enough to do. So the more people that could support and buy your things, I'm all for that and help them out, okay. But what I have a problem with is that you have to, as a creator, you have to understand your market, you have to understand your audience, you have to understand what you're putting out. And if you're not putting out things of any kind of quality, you're going to find yourself in this, because when you are pandering to a market, to a minority that literally does not exist because it's less than 1%, you're going to find yourself in trouble. I mean, look at what one of his comics is. Glitter Vipers. They're here, they're queer, they ain't taking shit anymore. Who in God's name is going to read? I don't want to read this. I don't want to read this. But this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about when it comes to some of these creators. Look at this. Explain to me who is. I mean, just from the cover and the title alone, you've already turned off everybody. They're here, they're queer, they ain't taking shit anymore. Who is going to read this? As a comic book reader. Because I read comic books. I read comic books. Well, not anymore. I don't. Well, I read certainly. Well, not Marvel and DC, the big two. I don't read them stuff anymore. But I don't. I mean, I'm not going to look at this and say, well, I want to read this. I'm not going to look at this and say, well, this is interesting. I want to see. I want you to look at his website, right? Queer Comics. So you already know. This is what it is. This is what is going on here. You have to understand something, and this is for all creators. They need to understand something. What you put out there to your audience, what you show your audience, what people are going to read. Now, nobody is against having. We know the world that we live in. There are people who are gay, bisexual, lesbians, whatever. Nobody has a problem with that. But that must not be the central focus point of your hero. That's the same crap mistake that Batwoman made, and you see what happened to that. People, why can't your hero just have that be a part of them? That is just a part of them, but that mustn't be what you lead with them. But this is what I'm talking about when you pander to an audience that doesn't exist. Just because you get a couple fruitcakes who for Pride Month or Pride Parade or whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't know, decide to dress up in all kind of cross-dressing outfit and go out on the road and suck tongue with man, whatever shit they want to do. That does not mean that they are going to read your stuff. These people are not comic book readers. You have to understand the audience that you are actually aiming for. You have to know the market that you're aiming for. You are aiming for a market that does not exist. I don't want to read this. Gay people don't want to read this. Because, and this is not something I'm making, I've seen many people have commented, and I've read things online and also talking from many people who have said that, okay, They are comic book readers, they're comic book fans, they're gay, but they don't like what they're seeing. They have no problem with representation. When you suddenly just switch character sexuality, they are offended by it. Create your own. But no, you can't do that. And you people have to be able to understand. Your sexuality must be a part of you. It must not be what you lead. But people read comics to see heroes and enjoy them. You don't do that. You don't provide that. Now, the big two like Marvel and DC could get away with it because they've been around for years. But I can't really say they're getting away with it because DC sales are in the toilet. Marvel not far behind. And it's just getting worse. But what you are saying is that, listen, we don't have a problem here. I just want to put out anything and you're supposed to like it. You don't understand your market. Who is going to read this? Who is your market? Who are the people you are actually saying, listen, I want to read this? You haven't said anything about who these so-called glitter vipers are supposed to be. I mean, I am not interested in reading this at all. I don't want to read this shit. I'm not gay. I don't want to read this. I could tell you from what I've seen. I don't even think gay people want to read this because here you are begging for them the month is turning out a bit tighter and because you're not putting out anything that people want to read. You have to understand your market. Clearly you don't. You are just pandering to a group that does not exist and hoping that is somehow supposed to level you up because you want to show that you are supreme queerness and you can get in this question. Nobody reads these things. You all pander to an audience on Twitter that don't exist. And this is something all creators or creative types have to understand. You have to put out quality. You have to know your market. You have to understand that. People who read people who view my videos and stuff, and I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for that. People who view my videos know the things that I talk about, know the things that I am passionate about, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to give you 100 tips to become rich in 100 days or like that. No, if I had that, I'd be very happy. But that's not what I do. I know the market. I'm talking about entertainment. That is what I am doing. You are in the entertainment field, and your version of the entertainment field is to be as completely queer as possible, put a bunch of queer books and pander to an audience that does not exist. Who in God's name is going to sit down and say to themselves, okay, I want to read Glitter Vipers. I have no idea what about, but on the cover, you're leading with they're here, they're queer, they ain't taking that shit anymore. What the hell? Who are you even? And then, I mean, nothing here in this is making anybody actually want to. This man had lipstick on. I mean, what the? Come on now, man. Come on. You started off, what I understand, but you started off broke. You went woke. You're still broke. And you keep doing it? You got to understand when you're making these things, you are doing it to make comics, you're making comic books. And any person who wants to get into comics, anybody who wants to be a comic book writer, artist, whatever like that, you have to understand that you are aiming for a certain thing. You have to make heroes. That's what people want to look up to. People want to look up to heroes. People want to see encouragement. People want to see that. They want to be interested. This is why heroes of the past have become so prevalent today. The Superman, the Batman, the Iron Man, the Captain America, the Black Widow, the She-Hulk. All of these are heroes that have been built up and people have come to enjoy them. It doesn't matter how much the mainstream, places like DC and Marvel are trying their hardest to completely destroy these characters. No. Go back and read back issues because what they put out was absolute garbage. I mean, X-Men used to stand for anybody who was an outsider could have looked at the X-Men and enjoyed the stuff. That's going on in the toilet as well. But this is what you're doing. As a creator, you have to build something that people are going to want. You have to something that you're enjoying about. You can't make this kind of nonsense and expect people to like it. Nobody's buying this. You are appealing to an audience of nobody. How did you possibly think this was going to, that somebody was going to enjoy this? Come on, now, man. Come on. As a creator, you got to know better. And if this is what you're putting out there, then don't complain anybody when nobody buying your stuff. Again, as I say, I don't like seeing people, any creator with anything, having to struggle. But if you're doing this to yourself, then I'm really sorry. You have nobody to blame for it but your own shit that is doing this. Make quality content that people will actually want to read and people actually enjoy. When you make garbage like this, you may very well find yourself ending up eating garbage too. Plain talk, bad manners.